Hi folks, it's a glorious day here in Devon, and today I want to have a chat to you about long lines and how I use them. Okay, this is a disclaimer. This is how I use them. I'm not suggesting you do the same way. It's entirely up to you. But before I retired, most of the vets, I think all of the vets in this area, used to recommend me, and so I would be inundated with people wanting me to come out and work with their dogs. And when they would phone me up, I would spend a long time chatting to them on the phone, really getting to know them and know the dynamics of the household and about the dog, and making friends with the owner and explaining how my methods work and how I might be able to help them. So then when I would go out to the home, I would have all of the freshly cooked meat in a container, 2 or 3 containers, depending on the dog. If it was like a really big dog, I might need 3 containers. And I would cook loads and loads of food of all different types. So chicken and sausages and the steak fat off my steak from the night before, or lamb chops or whatever, and have a good variety of different treats. And they would be warm in here. So when I turned up at the house, as I got to the front door, I would get a big handful of these and stick them in my treat bag, so that as I walked in the door, the dog, which would be hungry because I'd asked the owner not to feed the dog from the night before, the dog would I would smell of this beautiful dog perfume, and as I walked in, the dog would be so excited and happy to see me. And that's the start of it, because I would need the dog to love me and think I was the best thing that they ever met, because I was happy and I'd play these games and work with the dog and really get the dog using its brain. And that's the beauty of Clicker, is that you're not using the dog's physical body or force. You're using the dog's brain to get it to work and think. And of course, some dogs are quicker thinkers than others. Some are a little bit slower, and like my Henry, my bull terrier, he wasn't very quick thinking. No. My friend said, oh, bless him, he hasn't got all his cups in his cupboard. And it was such a good description of my little boy. Big boy, actually, very strong. The sun always shone in his little world and he was always happy, but he wasn't bred for his brains. So, it depends on the dog and how it reacts and how it works out what Clicker is all about. And Clicker's not hippie type training, and it really does work. It's a magic way, honestly. And I'll show you in other videos my methods and explain how I developed all these experiences using Clicker. So when I would turn up and have all this beautiful food, what I would just start doing is working with the dog. And I would work for maybe an hour, hour and a half with the dog and the owner. I would work with the dog and I would get the owner to watch me, because the owner can just relax, have a cup of tea while I'm working with the dog, because I need the dog and me to have communications and to work very closely together, so that the dog starts understanding what I want it to do. And even just with thought, so that the dog is reading my body language and my facial expressions and my hand signals. So once the dog is on board, then I can move on to what I call the this way game. And I use the word game at the end of everything so that it makes it fun. So it's like, right, we're going to play the this way game, we're going to play the mat game, we're going to play the door game. So what I would do is I would then get a long line. So just stand up to show you here. So this is a thinner, a lighter weight version of my heavy horse lunge, which I use here. Okay, this is very strong. Of course, it's designed to hold a horse when you're lunging it, particularly. So the horse is going round and round in circles, and you're teaching the horse, or you want to get rid of some excess energy of the horse. So obviously it's strong because that's what it's designed for. But this is more for puppies and younger dogs. It's much lighter weight, but it's still strong. Now you must always, 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 if you're going to use a long line, have it attached onto a harness and not onto a collar. Because if the dog was to take it off, and at the end of the line, say at the end of a 20-foot line, it comes to a sudden halt where it runs out of line, and if it's onto a collar, you can imagine the jerking that would cause onto the neck. So I always use a harness, and a harness that I know that I can trust. Now I'm just going to show you something. This is top tip. Now I do like a little bit of a top tip. Okay, just going to show you. I can see if I can do it. Okay. Now, if you look at this ring, there is absolutely nothing wrong with this ring, and there's nothing wrong with this clip. As you can see, it's a big, strong clip. But therein lays the possible problem, because sometimes, see if I can do it, it untangles, it unhooks itself. Let me try it again. You see? So I haven't touched this bit. It's just the size of the clip and the size of the ring. So if you've got one this size, I have never had a problem with this kind of size ring and this kind of size clip. So it really does depend. These smaller rings, that might happen to. So what I would suggest is that you get a carabiner and maybe attach it on to here and onto the harness, so that you've got a backup in case that should unclip itself. Okay, so I just thought I'd mention that because I have seen it happen before. Now, so when I have got my horse lunge on, I tie the knot so it doesn't strangle me. And I've got it tied here. And of course, if you've got a number of people or different people, size people using it, you have to make sure that the knot is comfortable for everybody. And then once I've worked with the dog and got it on my side, I can call the dog this way. And every time it comes within a foot of my left knee, let's say that left knee has got a magic circle of a foot. And any time the dog comes into that circle, it gets a click and treat. So I do, good baby, well done. And then I walk away, off I go, and every time I say this way, and as soon as the dog comes into that magic circle, it's a click and treat. So I do this in the house and in the garden, and then I take the dog out to a safe place outside of the home. And what I do is I make this smaller so I can have it at any length. So what it means, the way that I tie it up, can you see, is that I tie it up like this. And then I've got a shorter long line. That makes sense? I've got a shorter long line. Okay. So, and if I want to get rid of it altogether, because if the dog is loose and playing, I can tie it up again like this. And then just put it behind me. I can just put it round like this. And then my hands are free and I can pick up poo, I can stroke the dog, I can click and treat, and I can just walk along and I'm nice and safe. And then I can undo it again. So depending on how long I need this to be, so in the beginnings, I work with a shorter line. And once the dog has realised that I keep walking off and every time it comes to this side, it gets a click and treat. And once we're on board with that and the dog, you can see the dog's got it because you just walk off and he's there. And then I can undo it like this, and then have a 20-foot line, and this will just be dragging along behind me. So there's my little dog, and he's walking along beside me, and this is just dragging along, getting very wet probably, snowy or sandy or whatever, but it doesn't matter. And then you've got this on the dog is walking beside you. And what I want to achieve is I want the dog to trot along happily beside me. I don't want him clung to me. I can't think unless you tell me what to do. I want an independent thinking dog that's happy watching me, okay? Watching me, watching my expressions, watching my hand signals, trotting along happily beside me with a spring in his step and a waggy tail, watching where he's going, but got one eye on me. Okay, so that's what I want to achieve, and that's how I work, so that the dog chooses to be beside me, not because I'm dragging him, heel, and using all sort of military type training. I want the dog here because he's happy to be here, and he's enjoying being in my company. So that's how I do it. And then one top tip is that you do not turn left into your line. So if you've got this on the left hand side, you don't turn left into it, because this is dragging along the floor and you can easily trip over it. So I always turn to my right, and then further on I turn to my right again, but I'm always aware where this line is, and it's like my tail, it's following me along here. Look, I've got a little tail here, okay? So I just ignore it and walk on and carry on going, and I expect the dog to be here, and he or she soon works out how I am thinking. Okay, so that's the idea of how I work with my long line. Now, I am going to say something that I know will be controversial, because there are a lot of people that like them, and that's their choice. But I personally despise extendable leads. I despise them. Now I'll show you. Here in Devon, we're a tourist area, and we've got a beach that's dog-friendly beach, and this is what you see. The times I see this, they're walking along with their shorts, and you see that badge of honour on their legs. Okay, now I can't show you some of the pictures that I've got on my phone, because I don't want to get a strike with YouTube, because some of them are very gruesome. Now, the damage that those extendables can cause, not only to people but also to dogs, because they are like cheese wire, especially the ones that are like this. And I've been out to a woman that nearly had her finger amputated, and another lady that went out and also her finger was so badly injured it was deformed and couldn't be repaired and back to normal. So the other thing is, I was just remembering some of the injuries. The other thing is that the dog is very often 20 foot ahead of you, and as the dog is ahead of you, it's taking control of the walk, and it's deciding where it's going, and it's almost as if it's saying, "You're picking up my poo there, that's all right there, yeah, I'm going this way, okay?" So it's not giving you a thought, it's out there, and that's not how I want it. When I'm with the dog walking along, I want the dog here until I say to it, "Go play, off you go." I want it trotting along beside me so that we're happy and we're working together. I don't want it 20 foot ahead of me. There's a guy here that walks along a very busy road up the road here, and it scares the life out of me, but lucky enough I haven't seen him for ages. But he used to walk up there with a very young gun dog, and the dog was 20 foot ahead of him. And as I drive along, my heart would be in my mouth, and I'm thinking, please don't come out under my wheels. And of course I'd be creeping along and all the cars was following behind. And you just think, what madness. He can't have control. He's got no idea that that dog can suddenly go out into the traffic and under the wheels of a car. So here in Devon, we've got a disused railway line, and they've taken up the tracks. And now it's a cycle path and a dog walk, and where people jog and, you know, exercise and things like that. And it's miles and miles and miles long. So when people are walking along, if they've got an extendable lead and they haven't got proper control over it, because, you know, I actually can't coordinate them. But if the dog runs across the path, because it's not massively wide, a cycle can, you know, they cycle past quite quickly. And as they cycle past, they can trip up. The wheels get tangled up in the extendable lead. The dog can be dragged down into the cycle, into the wheels of the cycle, be very badly injured. The cyclist can come off and be very badly injured. The owner has a breakdown because of it all. So it's really something that I don't recommend, and I will never use them. But if that's your choice, you know, all I want you to do is do me a favour and either Google or whatever search engine you use and put in pictures or photos of injuries caused by extendable leads, and then see what you'll find. Okay, I've got them on my phone, but I can't show them to you. Okay, now, so that's the end of this video. I hope that it's been of some help to you. Don't forget, click on the link below and you'll my free book. Have a flick through it, see what you think, and also don't forget, please subscribe, because it will help this channel, brand new channel, to grow. And the things that I will be, you know, videos that I will be doing, hopefully might help other dog owners that are in trouble with some of the my methods. So anyway, I'll speak to you soon. Bye.